All right, folks, welcome to the podcast. All right, we got a guest today with us, old Al. Okay, and look, a lot of people don't know, okay, about Al.
Because they see me as the pastor side.
Yeah, they see you.
Pastor Al.
Yeah, they see you as the good guy. Okay, he ain't always the good guy. Because if you sit at the domino table with him and his cohort in crime, Jason Robertson, you're fixing to get your butt strapped. Is what's going to happen.
Oh, you're going to get strapped. I'm proof of it, and so is Jay Stone.
Yeah, I got two rules. Rule number one, don't ever get in a rig with Phil Robertson. Number two,
both are forward.
And number two, don't ever get in a card game with Jason Robertson.
That's right.
Those are good rules to live by.
Competitive is not the word, but Al's always been. He literally had to grow up quickly, okay, as a kid, because he was kind of holding the family together when they was going through rough times. But hey, he's also a very slick instigator.
Well,
I confessed to that yesterday in my sermon.
That was in the sermon.
It was in
yesterday.
the sermon
yesterday.
Yeah, hey, Lord, you just got to forgive me. I don't know what happened. It just comes over me.
You weren't there, Si. Where were you at?
Hey, I was filming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was filming all day.
He's
right.
working on the new show.
Some of us got to work for a living.
I was worried about you.
Yeah, no, Christine told me, and I said, well, that's Stone.
So
I bring it up. Hey, look. Y'all see this right here, boys? I got that's a sour cream pound cake, and that is it was cooked by my deer hunting young lady and my fishing partner, okay, Miss BK. Okay, Stone, okay.
Right. Well, they asked her to make a cake for the youth last night, and she said, well, I need to make one for Uncle Si.
That's right, because Christine, I come home after eating with Stone last Sunday. And Christine said, where's the cake? And I said, they didn't cook me one. She said, well, God, that's all I was looking forward to since you was going over to eat. And I said, well, I'll have to tell them that, hey, you was real disappointed when I come walking in. First thing out of your mouth was, where's the pound cake?
Yeah. But see, saying that good that it's now multi-generational, because your nephew, me, when I make pies, a lot of times I'll make sure make an extra pie for Uncle Si or Dad, because I know they love my pies. And now my grandchildren are doing the same thing for it. That's 4 generations of thinking. That's pretty good.
It's actually pretty wild, because, hey, I was just about fixing to quit deer hunting, okay, until Stone said, no, come on. Get out of the bed, old man. Come on, man. You're going with me and BK.
They were trying to keep you alive.
No, well, they are, okay, and they have, because Stone's he's wore off on me. He's big time into staying in shape. He lost about 70 pounds, and he works out all the time. Well, they got Uncle Si working out now. I work out every day, 45 minutes.
He's been doing it for 4 days.
That's good.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to give it up, okay?
Well, that's good.
I'm looking at my weight, okay? I weighed the other day, 165. I ain't giving up a lot of stuff, okay? I was up to 170 and going on higher. And I said, nope. And I looked at this and I said, nope, I got to get rid of this.
Al, when's the last time you saw 165?
Si, one of my legs weighs 165.
Well, look, I'll give up certain things, okay? I used to eat a lot of banana bread, okay? So, they're not making it as good, so I'm giving that up. Now I'm on blueberry muffins.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm not giving up my blueberry muffins or my walnut ice cream, okay? Black walnut ice cream. Them two I'm going to keep. But as long as I stay in the 160s, I'll be all right.
So I found out when I reached about 45 years old, I began to swallow a lot of aggression, along with a lot of Johnny's pizza. And
the aggression didn't
between
didn't
the two, it has expanded my girth. So I'm trying to be a calmer, gentler Al who stays away from as many carbs as I eat. But I ain't been working too good.
Well, hey, look, growing up with the Robertsons, okay. Hey, look, you were talking about aggression, okay. I guess it just if you come along with the Robertson family, aggression's gonna be there, okay. Because number one, we had a big family. Okay, you got a bunch of siblings.
Well, you had to speak up if you're.
You wouldn't even be heard. Okay, everybody says, "Good grief, I've seen y'all play dominoes. Why do y'all get so loud?" I said, "Because hey, you got to understand, when you're the littlest young'un, and you got all the siblings that are older than you are, if you didn't scream, you didn't get heard.
Yeah. What I've noticed is I don't know that it would be sheer aggression, but it's competitiveness. Like when me and Stone play against y'all.
Yeah, we're partners. We should have played rocks today.
Oh yeah,
this is our normal.
This is the game. We try to play. Well, we haven't played in a while. We need to make that right.
That's right.
But we try to play at least once a month.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this, okay? When y'all first started, y'all was bad rookies. Okay? Hey, me and Al have done brought y'all in. Okay?
Oh, they're good.
Y'all are in there. You're in the elite group now, guys.
How many nights in a row did we lose?
Oh, no.
There was a streak of about 7, 5.
Yeah, they whooped us 5 in a row one night.
We whooped them like
Okay, after that, hey, me and Al didn't play with them for about 2 weeks after that.
We were a little bit mad about
it was 5
Yeah.
games in a row.
5
It was-
nights.
Yeah.
But if you remember, me and Stone never jumped up and rubbed it in. We were all like, good game.
Oh,
guys."
you were talking pretty good
You
smack.
got a little smack
No,
going on.
You got,
maybe a little, but we
Well-
didn't want I know what happens when you start talking too much
Well,
smack.
hey, we
with
come
the
back.
Robertsons.
We come back, and then, but hey, here's the thing on that. Okay, you got to have the rocks.
Oh yeah,
Okay?
you got to.
To strap. Okay, because the best strapping that was ever done and witnessed was with my brothers, Harold and Jimmy Frank, the oldest, was playing Jase and Al. And look, they was about what?
Well, I was a teenager. Jase was
Yeah.
probably about 10 or 11. I was about 14 or 15. So
And
we were the only kids
They could
allowed
play
to
with the
play
old
with
grown-ups.
adults.
Okay, look, the game was that Jimmy Frank and Harold needed 5 points to win. Al and Jason needed 150.
Al, let me fact check that. Is that true?
That's true.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
look,
Si.
3 rows
Hey.
versus a nickel, which
Hey.
normally it's just
Yeah.
the game's over.
It's over.
two hands, okay, 5s and 6s, and it was, bam, and then it was, how did we ever step you boys like a yard dog?
They quit the game after
Oh yeah,
that.
yeah, they didn't play. They didn't play anymore.
It hurt them deeply because what would happen when we would play these? So the setting was we would play. It was Thanksgiving or Christmas, and all the family comes in. So a domino game gets started, and there's partners, and then people are eating and roaming around and visiting. And so as long as you won, you stayed at the table. But when you lost, you had to get up, and 2 other people sat down. So you may even change partners throughout the day. But so it was all day, and the thing looked like a pool hall because everybody smoked.
Layers of
Everybody
smoke.
smoked back then, including Si. And so when you would come in there, it would be a haze off the
Big
ceiling.
clouds. It would be clouds 2 foot from the ceiling down.
Yeah.
Okay. And Daddy would have 1 or 2 burning in the ashtray.
He had an ashtray as big as that cake plate.
Yeah.
And it had all these little
Yeah.
trays on it. And it was just constantly smoking itself.
Oh yeah, he was lighting them up, smoking half of it, and then he'd have 3 or 4 on the stupid tray.
That was Paul.
That was
That was Paul.
And Granny
Yeah.
would say, "Oh, James, he doesn't put out a cigarette. He just dives at the ashtray." Remember when she would say that? She would get so mad at it because it was just smoking. So between that, I mean, I took seeing so much secondhand smoke in my life. It's a wonder I'm still even alive.
No, that's true.
Because there was a lot of
Yeah,
smoke.
that's true. Because I remember walking in Daddy and them's house, and Al and Jason and Ma and Paul would be sitting there playing dominoes, and I'm talking about little. It would be about 6 inches over Daddy's head from the ceiling, about 3 foot. And I mean, it looked like a cloud had come in the house.
It was bad.
You know?
So and to show you, so the ceiling was stained like this nicotine yellow, along with their fingers. So they did a paint job at the church a few years ago, big remodel, and that's back when I was preaching, working there. And so they wanted to show it to me. Everybody wants the preacher to be happy. So the guy that, picked out the colors, he walks me in there and he said, "Well, what do you think?" And I looked around, I said, and it was kind of a dingy yellow. And I said, it took my grandparents smoking 6 packs a day for 15 years to get their place to look like this. You did it in one paint. Good job. And everybody laughed except this guy because he wasn't
he went in on a
he
joke.
didn't get the joke.
Nicotine.
All right,
yeah.
guys. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Oh, do I have a story for these guys?
Okay. All right.
Well, I've done a lot of guest spots on podcasts, but I've never done ads as a guest on podcasts. Right. So I guess normally who's the ad guy? Martin?
Martin.
Or Johnny D.
Johnny D. And I'm in Johnny D's chair. Did you just put the fattest people in this chair? Is that why I got this one?
Negative.
And hey, on somebody might chime in.
Well, good. I like chiming in. Yeah. So I do all the ads obviously on Unashamed, so I'm glad to do them here. So my question is, who does stamps for Duck Commander? Do you have a company that does them? Do you know?
No. Stamps.com.
Stamps.com.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I don't even work here, but I found that out. And so they're also a sponsor of our podcast.
Oh, okay.
The Duck
know
Commander.
that.
It's perfect. So we love these guys, right?
Yeah.
So you can save up to 40% off of USPS, U.S. Postal Service, and up to 66% off of UPS shipping rates when you use these guys.
That's a good savings,
which is
guys.
pretty good.
Yeah.
And as much packages that come through mine in your house,
oh yeah,
you want that, right? You want savings.
Yeah, my woman, hey, Amazon, because look, hey, she orders it, bam, it's there.
So there's no risk. Use the promo code DUCK. You're going to get a special offer that includes 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. That's awesome. No long-term commitments, no contracts. Stamps.com. Click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in DUCK. So it's stamps.com, promo code DUCK, and start saving you some money.
Hey, and you don't have to go to the post office. That's the good part, boys.
All right, Phillip, you got a story?
I have a story. So once I was coming around the Robertsons, and we were playing different games: hearts, spades, dominoes. What's the one with the bird, Al?
Rook.
We played Rook.
Yeah.
So me and Kevin McIntosh were playing against Wiley Bill Phillips and Al over at Al's house.
Our house was kind of the new Christian, college-aged Central. Yeah. I mean, everybody was hanging at our house.
And it was huge. It had like 9 bedrooms.
It was
I
huge.
just remember how big it was. But so we're in there playing, and Bill is a bad smack talker. I mean, look, I was a new
one of
Christian.
the worst.
Let's clarify who Bill is.
Billy.
W-E.
Yeah, that'd be W-E. Red Dog Phillips.
You probably could Google him and find him on
you
Google.
could find him.
Yeah.
You could find him.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're playing, and me and McIntosh get down to these guys, and look, Al's got a love language of sarcasm a little bit. You know what I mean?
It's one of my love languages.
Cause he's pouring it on, seeing the end that we're fixing to lose.
Yeah. He done figured out he fixed to strap you.
He's got a strap.
Yeah.
So look, we ain't got much left in the game, and I know this. So here's what I do, Si. I said, boys, I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. And I laid my cards down. Now they're waiting. They're like, okay, they're getting their drinks, whatever it is. Yeah. So I get to the bathroom, lock the door, climb out the window, ease off in my car, and I didn't talk to him for 2 weeks.
Hey, they didn't even see him for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And we were all
they sit there for like an hour and tell me,
where'd he go?
Did he die?
Well, I was like, man, he must have ate too much pizza or something. He's got some issues in there.
When they told me that, I laughed.
What do you call that, Phil? The classic number 3.
That's the classic number 3. We
You don't
don't
go
get
in for
down.
number 1, number 2. You go in for number 3.
I said, Phillip, why did you leave? He said, because, hey, the game was over. Al was fixing to bam,
I couldn't handle it.
He said, and I knew what was coming. I couldn't handle the smack. He said, I couldn't handle all the smack that was fixing to be pushed upon me. He said, so I left.
Remember when Josie Wells said you got to get mad dog mean when things start looking bad? Remember?
Right.
Well, that's what I said. I said when things start looking bad, you got to pull number 3.
So Phillip, to show you, it's not just you. Whenever I went on a mission trip, my first mission trip, the first time I ever flown an airplane, I went to Romania, 1991. With Kellett, with Steve Idam, with Chris Howard. The 4 of us went. We were going to be there about 3 weeks. We were doing some small group stuff. Long one. Yeah. And so we go, and so, you're in a lot of airports, and we were sitting around a lot of places. So I said, well, why don't we play some cards? And they said, well, y'all know how to play hearts, spades? I said, yeah, let's play hearts. Hearts is a brutal
Oh, it's brutal.
It's a brutal
Especially
game.
when you're very, very good at it.
That's right. Because it's every man for himself.
Yeah.
Is what it is, and you don't really. It's a person, and so you can throttle somebody for doing the right thing.
Yeah, you try to run it. That's 13.
That's
Take that
exactly
away.
right. Or you stop somebody and they slam the queen, and you're like, why did you do that? Because I could.
That's right, because I could.
So I'm like the newbie on the mission trip, and like so we start playing this card game. And it's brutal, and they don't know how to play real well. Kellett knew a little bit, so I'm just throttling them, but I'm getting in my mode, my zone, because that's the zone I grew up in. And so they were like, so finally, Steve Adam, Steve, if you knew him, he's got a temper, and he just threw those cards across the thing, got up, stormed out. He said, "I tell you what, Al's got a whole different temperament, demeanor when he's playing cards." I mean, we're on a mission trip. He walked away.
There wasn't a lot of brotherly love being shown here.
And I was like, what did I do?
It's the only way Al knew.
That's all I knew. But I learned it from Si. I learned it from my uncles, my uncle Jimmy, Frank, and Harold. We talked about it a minute ago. They talked smack the whole time we played dominoes. And since we were young, they would really grind us hard. And we really couldn't reciprocate fully because they were adults. We had to be respectful. And so I remember leaving the table many times in tears because I was just like, I wanted to go off, but couldn't because they were just on my butt, the whole time.
Al, that's the way Si is after every poker game with Jase.
Oh, yeah.
Tears in his eyes as he's heading home.
Well, no, because one night, he had lucked out on me. I mean, bad.
He seems to do that a lot.
Notice that every man that beat Si was lucky.
No, because look, but I'm telling you, okay, it was like he had a one-outer 4 times in a row at one night.
Yeah.
Okay, I had him right where he wanted him. I got all his money in, and I should have won it. And, hey, he hits a one-outer 4 times in a row. And I got so mad, I said, hey, I got my wallet. I said, give me 1,000. And I said, Jason Robertson, I said, I am coming after you with everything I've got.
That's close to what he said.
Well, no. And look, he never played another hand.
But
I said, is Jason in? And they said yes, and I said, raise it 200.
Yeah, raise.
So it's funny, Si, hearing your side of things because Jase talks about poker sometimes on our podcast. So when he talks about you, he's like, he's my uncle. I don't want to just like take advantage of him. So I'm like, I'm trying to help him so he just won't lose all his money. He makes out like you're a charity case and he's just helping out.
Yeah, I know.
That's what he's saying on the other podcast.
I will say one thing for him. Okay, and I've played poker for years. I've never seen a single human being play poker, and be that lucky, that consistently. And he ain't that. He thinks he's the greatest poker player ever.
He's pretty good.
He's not. He's not.
I done told you,
but he is good. I gotta give it to him.
My rule is don't get in the game with him to begin with.
Because Jay gets too mad.
Because you ain't gonna win.
Well,
Plus, he's thinking so far ahead of you.
Yeah.
This is not checkers. It's chess.
Yeah.
And Jase is way ahead of you. If you don't know that, when you look around and think who's the sucker at the table, it's you.
Right. You know that
look in the
river.
mirror.
What's the name of that river in Egypt, Si?
Denial.
Denial.
That's where you're at.
No, that's
You're in
denial. It ain't
denial.
got nothing to do with denial.
So we had a discussion on Unashamed. Somebody asked us a question about gambling because Jason mentioned poker. And so, some of our good-hearted listeners out there says, well, I thought gambling was wrong. So Jace goes into a whole exposition. Dad, of course, goes in it from the Bible.
How long did that take?
It was long. It was a long. As anybody that listens to Unashamed knows, Jace speaks in a long volume.
Because like he's always talking about, if he wins and sucks out on your hand, he'll never admit it. he'll say, "Well, I had a
developing hand."
So here's what he said. So his thing, the reason that gambling isn't wrong for him is because gambling is only wrong when you can lose. He said, I never lose.
No.
He said, so it's skill. It's not gambling.
But let me tell you something.
That's his theory.
Here's what Si said that makes a lot of sense. He said, Phillip, you want to go play in the poker game? He said, I got $100. I'm buying into whatever tournament we were playing in. And he said, I'm going to spend $100 if I take my wife out to eat and to the movie. He said, so she gets left behind and weeded out, and I'm going to spend this money going and playing poker. That's what makes me happy.
Yeah.
So
well, I say the same thing when Lisa goes in and does that. She likes to do the penny slots if we're like in Vegas or someplace. And it's like, and she'll usually spend $20 or $30. She likes it. She likes sitting there. I hate it because it's like the biggest waste of time in my life.
it's saving you money because she's not shopping.
Well, she would spend way more online. That's exactly right. You put a laptop in front of her or a iPad, and that's money. That's cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah, no, because Christine does this way. I told her the other night. She said, hey, I need you to transfer, $400 to my account. And I said, what are you talking about? She said, hey, don't even start going down that road. She said, you dropped this much money the other night at poker game.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
She said, I'm into clothes. And I said, yeah, but here's the thing. I said, you're into clothes by the seasons.
That's
I said,
right.
so that's 4 times what I'm. She said, I don't want to hear it. You play poker two times in a week. So I don't want to hear it.
Hey, Jay, did you know that Christine gets a new outfit? I mean,
Oh, no.
she throws away all the old clothes and gets all new stuff.
Well, she
4
gives them
times.
away. Yeah.
Well, yeah. But four
Hey,
times a year.
So, Jay, we share a property together. We
Yeah.
live in 2 different spots. How many packages
Oh,
come to
yeah,
your
that's what I
front
was
door?
going to say. So
That's my house.
when y'all, Al and Lisa went on a trip here recently, and we're going for about a week,
Well,
week and a
about
half,
almost 2 weeks,
almost
yeah.
2 weeks. There was a wall of Amazon boxes.
Oh, no.
It was
That's
a
my house.
10-foot wall. It was 10 by 10 across the front door.
Si, my neighbors in Alabama, because we bought a place down there, they think that my house is a FedEx distribution center. Because they started bringing their stuff over to ship. Because so I thought it was, there were so many packages here.
I look on your porch all the time, and there it is.
Always a package.
That's why, I said, the lady takes care of Christine. She brings in, I said, is that for me? And she said, no. And I said, that's what I thought. But, hey, this is good marriage advice. Hey, here's a tip for the men. Just learn to say yes, ma'am, a lot, and you'll be a lot happier.
Yeah.
Okay, because, hey, you like to do what you do, okay, and she allows it, okay. So, hey, you better learn to say yes, ma'am, when she wants to spend your money.
You gotta give a little to get a little, Si.
That's right. Hey,
You can't have it all one way. That's for sure.
hey, good marriage advice, boys.
Oh, that's right. Well, what do you want to get into next?
I don't know, but, hey, we'll be right back. We'll take another break.
So, Si, I'm so excited. So I wondered if we had some crossover sponsors for our podcast. And
we do.
And we do.
This one is one of them. Okay, boys. 35 years of research and
development.
development, and it's working for you personally.
And Si, tell them where it comes from.
And it comes from the pristine waters of New Zealand.
So whenever we first signed on to do this, I got on the phone with Dr. McMillan, and she's the real, scientific brain of the operation.
Oh, okay.
Her husband knows how to run a business, and so they did this together as a couple. And she explained to me the science behind it, and it was incredible. I mean, I learned a lot. From
Well,
a
no,
20-minute
I
program.
know for a fact, since I take 2 a day,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I used to wake up with aches and pains,
Yep.
okay, I don't anymore, okay. This does not cover up like all these other creams and junk you use.
That's right.
Okay, this goes to what's bothering you, where the inflammation is, and then it's gone.
That's right. Painful, stiff joints, muscles. I mean, the best thing that you could say about Omega XL is that Phil Robertson, who takes no medication, takes Omega XL. And he'll tell you that's the only thing I take. So that tells you a lot. So obviously we're sold on the product. We're excited about it. And Si and Dad and Mom and I are going to do a little more work for Omega XL. That's how much we like them. So Omega XL, here's what you do. OmegaXL.com/duck. And you're going to buy your first bottle, get your second bottle free, which is going to give you a couple of months' supply. It takes about 8 weeks, she told me, for it to really kick in.
Hey, that's that word again, free.
That's okay.
Okay.
Right. We love free.
Hey,
OmegaXL.com/duck. Or you can call them at 800-844-4888. That's 800-844-4888.
88.
Size on it. Duck.
Hey, duck, boys.
Oh, yeah.
Got it going again.
We got the podcast going. Welcome to the podcast there, Phil.
Podcast.
Yeah.
Every time I look up, I'm on a podcast.
Well, hey, welcome to the club. That's what we're doing. We got your oldest son as a guest today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They upgraded.
Hey, upgraded, boys.
Yeah.
Upgraded. There ain't no telling where y'all gonna go with all that.
Oh, hey, what are you doing today?
What am I doing? Somebody said I got too much blood, and they're gonna drain some blood out of me. And I tried to explain to them. There's gasoline engines, that's a little blood.
And diesel engines.
Diesel motors.
That's it, boy. Then, hey, he's got a diesel motor.
So, I don't know.
Well, we got the tractor back going, and Dan's gonna shut it off here directly. So everything's looking good. It fired right up.
All right, we fixed to tear their tail off.
That's what I'm talking about.
We got rice and millet coming up everywhere.
That's right.
Hey, look.
Good work, so.
I look down that lane, a lot of green on that lane, so I think
I'll
we're.
sit in the chair every day, and y'all call in, and I'll do something wrong, and then y'all just keep going with what you're going, breaking beaver dams, cleaning up stuff.
Yeah.
We
That's
got
right.
a good deal going here.
And
I'll
that's
sit
right.
in the chair here and keep abreast of it.
You hold on, Dad. You hold
That's
on,
right.
and we'll do something's wrong.
That's right. Till duck season opens, and then we'll go over there and we'll
That's
burn our gun barrels off.
And have the occasional beef tenderloin while you're at it.
That's what we're talking about.
There you
boys.
are. It don't hurt a thing. All right, see y'all.
All right.
Now that's a call in.
Now that's a call
Hey, that's
in.
it, boys. All right.
That's why you got to answer your
I'm gonna
phone.
ring the bell
That's
on
it.
that, boys.
That's it. But that's a daily that's a daily thing for me now. I talk to 2 people every day. Well, my wife, 3 people. My wife, Cam Hogue at UPM
Yep.
in Jackson, Mississippi.
Cam.
They make all our plastic duck call parts, and Phil every day about what's going on
Yeah,
at the
what's
land.
going on in the land? Okay.
That's
Get ready.
That's
for,
number
yeah.
one job. Now
Yeah.
I get paid for making duck calls, but my most important job is to take care of Phil and you and the land.
and get the ducks feed growing.
That's it.
Exactly right. So
That and the deer feed.
So I know why Dad likes to call out though, because he's stuck there with Mom and Aunt Ann,
Ooh, yeah.
her older sister, who and neither one of them never stopped talking.
No.
Nope.
And
Nope.
so Dad, I finally got him to me on the podcast. So he's talking about his hearing aids. You know, I can hear an ant crawling across the front. And so I was like, so why don't you wear them? And he said, no, you don't understand. He keeps going back to what he can hear. And I said, no, you're not understanding my question. Why don't you wear them at home? Because I walk in and the TV's so loud, I can't even have a conversation. And he never would answer. And then finally I said, are you not wearing them because you don't want to have to listen to Mom? Because she's constantly talking all the time. He said, you may be onto something there.
Hey, you may have hit it the head, the nail on the head.
So that was
boys.
his admission that he doesn't wear his hearing aids because he'll have to listen to Mom all day. So I was like, well,
Oh, the first time I got them, okay, is I went into the restroom, okay, and turned.
I didn't know they sold hearing aids.
No,
in the
look,
restaurant.
and hey,
Put 2 quarters in.
no. I got them in the army, and look, I turned the faucet on full blast and just right there fell down. I pulled them out, and hey, I couldn't wear them after that. I should have went back, and they said, well, if you'd have come back in, we would have adjusted them.
Yeah.
And I said, well, hey, when it like to blew my ears off, I just said, no, I ain't wearing them.
Yeah, I had the same thing when they one time I couldn't hear out of my right ear. And we were at the beach, and I was just like, man, I don't know, something's going on. So when I got home, I went to the doctor. He looks in there and said, oh, my word, yeah, you got a problem here. So he took some tool, and there was a nurse there with him. She had something like that, and he just started digging out of my ear. And, I mean, he got enough wax out that would have made a ball that big. But look, when he took out that last part, it was like a big pop.
Yeah.
And then they were talking. I was like, because I mean, it was like hurting.
Easy.
It was hurting my ear, and I was like, I made myself deaf from earwax.
Well, no. What was that? Jace had a bug in his
That was
ear.
Willie.
Earwig.
Oh, that too.
No, that was both of them had it.
Well, no, Willie had a water bug. You know them big old. You remember
Like a roach?
like a
A
roach, but
flying-
they're that long,
Oh, yeah.
flying roach. One of those crawled down his ear when he was 15 years old. You know, we would all when you graduated up at our house, you moved into the laundry room. that meant you got your own room. So there was just a cot in the laundry room. I had it first, then Jase had it, and then Willie got it.
I love it.
Then Jase was sleeping on the couch. He liked sleeping on the couch in the living room. But the problem with the laundry is them big old water bugs were back there. So one decided to make a nest in Willie's ear. Well, he wakes up, he's 15, he's crying, and I mean, he's 15 years old.
Oh, yeah, but every time that thing
right, he would
or-
flutter. And so, mom and dad are like, they're just, pumping it full of stuff and, medicines.
trying to wash it
trying
out
to wash
or whatever
the problem is. So finally, Dad's like, okay, I guess you're just going to have to take him up to the emergency room because it ain't getting no better. They did, and they pulled that thing out. And Willie said when they got it about halfway out, it just made a big loud pop, because they had put all that pressure on it. But that thing, every time it would buzz right against his eardrum.
I had a moth like that, a small one. Got it reminded. It would just when he had floated, I just. I mean, every time it like knocked me down.
So you never got it out, did you?
No,
It's still in there.
No, but look, Jase had something in his.
He had an earwig.
Earwig.
Okay,
Have you
looked
seen
like
it?
It looked like a prehistoric dinosaur.
Oh yeah, it's got
That
pictures
thing
on
on
Hey,
its back.
it had, this
Yeah.
thing was gross looking, and I said, "You got that out of your ear?"
But the thing's called an earwig. But everybody I've talked to never heard of one actually getting in somebody's ear.
If you look it up on the internet, it says it's a wives' tale that'll get in your ear.
Yeah.
But when something is called an earwig, that means somewhere down the line,
It's been in the
it's
ear.
been in an ear.
Not a wives' tale.
Yeah, no, this is not a joke.
No.
Because, I mean, this thing looked like a dinosaur.
Oh, I saw it.
Did you ever see the Star Trek, the Wrath of Khan, when they had the bugs they put in their ears to control their mind?
Oh, yeah,
It looked
yeah.
just like that.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
That's where they-
Big pinchers on there. That's where they got the idea from.
Oh, no.
Well, it was also on Flash Gordon. Remember when? Yeah, they brought out the ball worms. Not the ball worms. Get the ball worms. Put them in the
Y'all started talking about Star Trek and Flash Gordon. You done left me in the dust.
Well, hey, look, I just know this. I would hate to have that stupid thing in my ear. It was bad enough when I had that little moth, because he was bad about, like, every time he'd do it, I'd hit the ground, just,
I can't imagine one of those earwigs. Pincher.
No.
Yeah, and they're little. But then since then, we talked about on the podcast, we've gotten emails from people, and when they found one or somebody found one on their shoulder, and they were like, oh, I was almost
almost
they was
there.
heading that way.
They were heading that way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's terrible.
But Jase has more stories about stuff like that, about
Oh yeah.
stuff that got in his beard, and he was
In
coming
his
off.
vehicle.
Yeah, in his vehicle. All these things are after. Every time he tells a story on the podcast, I say, Jase, every week you have something happen to you that's never happened in my life.
No.
I'm 56 years old.
I got a
Every
question.
week
I
something
got a
happens
question
to
for
you.
That's
you
what
about
when
him.
you was telling me, I said, what have y'all been up to? And Al said, well, we just let Jase go out.
That's it.
Okay, we're into the population.
Just live.
Okay, yeah, just live. Go out into the population, Jase, and then come back and tell us what happened.
He ain't gonna run out of stories.
What is Jase's infatuation with killing flies? Because yesterday we were eating and he jumped up and killed a fly. I thought he was gonna knock everything off the
Well,
table.
it's not just flies; it's things that fly.
Yeah, he's bad about. He's got
just
this
crazy
thing.
about it. He's
Yeah.
like, oh,
No, he was
let that
telling me.
live.
It's
He was
OCD.
telling me that he
Yeah.
had been chasing one all morning.
Yeah.
And he said, then my son actually, seen him lit. He was lit on something, and it was Cole. And Cole goes, and Jase jumps up and told me, what are you doing? And Cole said, what? He said, hey, when you kill a fly, you kill it. He said, I want to have a son of mine just looking like a little girl going.
He told the story.
He said, I went off on him. He said, I was mad the rest of the day.
He told the story today on the podcast, ironically, Si. And he said he had to apologize later because he embarrassed Cole in front of everybody that was there. And he was like, that was just, I shouldn't have done that. That was not good.
He said, I lost my temper. He said, but he just
Over
hit me wrong.
not hitting a fly hard enough.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. You tell me.
I guess we got that from, we got that from Mama Hale.
Well, I heard she was mean.
Oh, no.
Was she the one that would assess the blame?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who's
that
the
her?
one that would pinch you under the table
that
with
was
her toes?
that was Aunt Irene.
That was Aunt Irene.
Okay,
It's like an earwig.
The
Al.
Hobbs. Oh, yeah.
And all their
No.
toes, they lay over on top of each other, so they're like a vice grip.
They was just like channel locks is what her two, the big toe and that one next to it, they were like channel locks.
So Al, why do you think y'all's family had toes that laid on top of each? How'd that happen?
Well, Granny and Pa were cousins.
Hey, and it was debatable if it was third and then Phil said, "Nope, it was worse than we thought, boys. They're second cousins."
That explains a lot. Well, let's get into some of that right after the break.
Hold on, Jay. Let's look at the family tree.
There's a lot of forks in it.
Oh, no forks.
So one of the best things about sharing a house with Jay Stone is that the man is a grilling machine.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I'm talking about a good grilling machine.
Phil knows.
I agree.
Usually we preface every domino game with some kind of big feed, right?
That's
exactly
And
right.
so, Jay is really good on the meats. He's a meat man,
Yeah.
because that's what he did to lose his weight and
Oh, yeah.
protein and blah,
Yep.
blah, blah.
Yeah.
So this advertiser, sponsor for the podcast, Moink, you brought some samples
Oh, yeah.
home, right, Jay?
Oh,
Some
yeah.
of the Moink samples.
Oh yeah, we've put a whooping on some moink.
Yeah,
here
that's
the past
what.
couple
That's the
months.
one where you get like a bacon free for a year.
Yeah, that's it.
That's right. That's exactly right. Which, I mean,
Bacon?
anybody offering that, I'm in.
Yeah, bacon for a year free. Hey, yeah.
So the best thing about Moink is it's all grass fed. Beef, lamb, pork, chicken. I mean, they also do fish. I mean, they got Alaskan salmon.
Yeah, salmon.
They got a nice wide array of things. Raised outdoors, everything's fresh. You go to moinkbox.com/duck and you get that free year of bacon just for signing up. And they're going to send you, and it's a box full of greatness. Every time it shows up, we're
I
always
like it. Greatness.
we're all
yeah.
super excited when the Moink box shows up. So here's what you do. Join the Moink movement today. Go to Moinkbox, that's MOINK box.com/duck. Right now, you get that free bacon for the year. So that's worth it. Moinkbox.com/duck and get you some good meats.
All right, boys.
What are we
Hey,
doing?
we're back.
Welcome
All right,
back.
and look, I got to go with this, Al. Okay, when you was growing up, okay, you and your buddies, okay, I don't even remember exactly what happened. Okay.
Ask Al. He's sitting right there.
Al, tell us the story about, okay, the only thing I know about is Phil showed up where they was at after whatever happened and said, "Hey, Al, you need to get to the house, and if you boys want to come back, all of you need to come to the house."
All right, let's hear it, Al.
So I was about 16 years old, and I was always younger because I started school when I was 4 years old. And because I guess in Arkansas,
Well, see, I didn't know that.
I guess in Arkansas you can go whenever you want to. Because I was 4 years old, and I started the first grade. So what happened was when you run that all the way out, well, I'm a senior in high school, and I'm only 16 years old, and so but all my buddies were 18.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, W.E. and,
Okay.
and Greg Epinette and
Now it makes sense.
I didn't know that.
and Terry Elkins. Well, the reason why it happened is because Mom was the secretary for the superintendent of the school system, and Dad was a coach there. So they just let it was daycare or go to school, so they just put me in school.
Okay.
Another thing to rob my childhood, but anyway. So
Yeah, because you was always older.
always
than,
older.
Yeah,
So my buddies, they had started drinking, and so I had began to partake in this, in the drinking. So W.E., his parents had a little camp that's just around from our hunting property now. It's about 3 miles from Mom and Dad. So we went over there one night with a case of beer and some other stuff, and so we're having a big time. Everybody's getting drunk, and so we went all over.
Teenagers being
Teenagers being
boys.
teenagers on the and we thought, we're not in town, we're out here in the middle of nowhere, but we had got the neighbors all riled up because of all of our antics, and so they ratted us out to Bill's parents, to W.E.'s parents. So the next day, me and Greg are sitting there folding boxes. I think all four of us were sitting there folding boxes because everything was Duck Commander when it was in the living room. So we're doing our little Saturday morning work, and all of a sudden the knock on the door, and it's Bill's mom. And she comes in, and immediately I looked up and I thought, "Uh-oh,
Yeah, trouble.
trouble."
Yeah,
But you
T-R-O-B-U-L-E,
couldn't go nowhere.
boy.
Yeah. So we just kind of kept. So Mom's like, "Oh, Carol, what are you doing out here?" And she said, "Well, we need to talk about the boys because last night they all got drunk over at our camp, and the neighbors are all in an uproar, and I'm fixing to take them over there to apologize." Well, I knew Dad's out on the front porch, him and old Keith Catfish Powell, and they're making duck calls. And I thought, oh, crap, this is going to be bad.
This is going to be bad because you got to understand, folks. Phil had just met Jesus,
Right.
okay, was changing his life, and alcohol, he had been bad on alcohol.
That's right.
Okay, so he did not want to hear anything about alcohol.
So he's about 5 years into not drinking anymore. But I'm kind of getting into the life, And so I'm like, I'm all for let's go apologize, anything to get me out of here. So we leave and we go over there and we hang our head and apologize to the neighbors, and we're all sitting around, and I can hear the old blue Chevrolet pickup coming. Had a wheelbarrow.
It's whining.
He had a little wine in it, and I picked up the wine about 2 miles out, and I thought, oh, so Dad walks up, and I can tell he just has that look. He has a really mean look.
Yeah.
You know that look,
How,
Jay?
how old he's about, what, 25, maybe 30?
Yeah, he's probably at the time he's about 32.
Yeah,
or
about
something
30,
like that.
okay.
He's young.
And a black, just jet black
He's in
beard.
his prime.
He's in his prime.
In his prime.
You wouldn't want to take him off.
Yeah.
No.
And so-
He's pulling nets up all the river, okay, and he's got forearms like Popeye.
Anyway, so he walks up there, and their camp is like screened in, so you can see all the way through it. So he walks up here, and he sees us sitting in there, and he opens the door, and he doesn't even say anything to me. He went,
Which means, hey, get your butt up and go home.
I'll walk out, and I'm standing behind him, and he says, "Let me tell you something. He's fixing to get what he deserves for what happened here last night. And if the three of you ever want to come to my house again, ever, you'll load up in that car with him, and whatever he gets, you get. Otherwise, I don't ever want to see you again." Mm-hmm. And so I'm behind him like, you know what?
Yeah, I understand.
Save yourself.
No,
Don't come.
yeah, don't come. You don't want this.
He's gonna kill us all. But my buddies, they all just said, well, we're in with Al. So we load up in the car, we follow him back over. We get out of the car, and Paul back then had a Chrysler. In the back end of that thing, I swear it was 10 feet wide. It was just the biggest behemoth of a car you've ever seen. He starts taking his belt off. He said, "All right, boys, line up on the back of that white car."
And bend over.
And so we're all up here just like this, 4, strapping teenage boys lined up. And so the first guy up was Bill, and now Carol and Red, his mom and stepdad, are standing there. And he says, "This is embarrassing. Your mom and dad, what do y'all think? Because I'm fixing to tear their butts up for that." And they said, "Get him, Phil."
Sick him, boy.
So he starts in. And Dad was a talker. He's one of them kind that he'd tell you about it.
He got that from Mama.
Yeah. And even had the syllables worked out. I tell you what, Bill Phillips.
It's timing. It was the timing part.
It's embarrassing.
Pow,
I'm whipping you
pow,
right here in front of your
pow.
parents. So Bill steps aside. So next up is Greg. And he's my old pal, Greg Epinette. So he starts in on Greg. "This is embarrassing. You better tell David and Mary that I whipped your butt. If you don't, you'll get another one." So Greg steps aside. The next guy's a guy named Terry Elkins. And Terry had never been to my house before or since.
This is this guy's first time, to be with Al.
So he's leaning up, and Dad says, "Son, I don't know who you are, but you go home and tell your parents that Phil Robertson whipped your butt for getting drunk," And then he came up to me. Of course, then he got all serious, because he done worked up into a good man.
He worked into it now.
And so
he's warmed up, in other words, boys. Al's fixing to get the full measure.
But I always tell, so the thing that I remember, I don't remember the whipping because it was the last one I ever got from him, but whippings are whippings. But I remember what he said. He said, "You saw what I put your mama through, and now you're going to turn around and do the same thing to her. You should know better." And the whipping I didn't mind, but man, that one got me.
That was pour salt in the wound.
Oh, he did, because he was right. Like, I was always
right.
Mom's biggest defender, and here I was about to go down the same road. Unfortunately, it took me another couple of years to work my way out of it, but I never forgot what he said that day. And so it's funny. So like 30 years later, a few years ago, I'm at the church, and this guy walks up. He said, "You remember me?" And I said, I looked at him, and he looked so familiar, you know. And I was like, "Did we go to school together?" He said, "Yep."
He said, "Remember the whooping?"
And that's what he said. He said, "You remember that day bending over that way?" I said, "Terry," I said, "I've been telling your story all across America." Because, you know, I used to tell the story a lot in my speeches. I said, "I've been talking about you ever." I said, "How are you?" He said, "Well, I went to the Air Force, and my life kind of didn't turn out great, you know, but I'm kind of working my way back." And he saw Dad as well. And he said, he went up to him, he said, "Mr. Phil, you remember me?" Dad said, "Don't think I do."
Don't think I do.
He said, "Well, you whipped me." Well, he said, "That was you?" He said, "Well, how'd you turn out?" He said, "Not too good." He said, "I guess I should have whipped you harder."
He said, "Oh, what the heart?" Yeah. Look, when I heard about this, I got Al pulled out to the side. I said, "Hey, this is like the military and people that have gone through the war together. You form a bond there."
That's right.
And I said, "Hey, I will say this for your friends." And I told them all. I said, "Y'all are worthy
That's right.
to be called friends." I said, because, hey, I just said, "Al, been fun, buddy, but hey, I ain't coming."
See ya.
And I still,
see ya.
I still get calls and texts from Greg and Bill. They're still friends of mine. Bill was the best man in my wedding. I called him because I've been trying to figure out how to lose some weight, and I'd heard he lost 80 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
So I called him and said, "Bill, what do you do?" He said, "It must be getting rough if you're calling me about weight loss." I said, "Well, yeah, it is, Bill."
Yes, I've reached that
I
level,
said,
boy.
I don't want to get, you know, and he said, "Well, I lost about 80 pounds. I said, "Bill, I'm so proud of you." He said,
Wow.
"Well, I got another hundo to go." And I was like, "Oh, Bill, I didn't know." And, but even to this day, to your point, Si, you're right. When you go through it with somebody, you're through it. And they stuck up that
Hey,
day.
I'd have had, y'all would have called me Carrot because I'd have just said, "Hey, guys, I love y'all, and hey, it's nice been knowing you, and I'm gone.
Out of here.
I'm out of here." So they, Greg and Bill, they impressed me. Okay, they really did because, hey, they just said, "Hey, we want to run with the guy. So, hey, let's go."
And I guess poor Terry, it was just peer pressure.
Hey,
It was
he was
just-
just,
he sure should have.
He just
Wrong
fell
place,
in.
wrong time.
Hey, that's it. Hey, that's like the song.
Wrong last name.
Doc J in New Orleans sing.
Yeah.
Wrong time, wrong place.
Wrong place, wrong time. Well, you know who your true friends are when something bad goes down.
Well, that's exactly
No, no.
right.
So-
They stood by you, Al, and I've always really been impressed by that. I really was. Okay,
Yep.
because that's top notch.
That's it. Well, Si, let's take us a little break and get into those emails from the Hello Duck Call Room.
That'll work. What are the
What do you
fans?
think?
What have the fans been up to, boys? Well, Al, being a preacher, how many weddings have you actually performed?
You know, I haven't counted them in a long. One time I had them counted. I kind of knew, but it's over 125.
Good grief.
So I don't know if you know this, but 30 years ago, Al actually did my wedding.
Oh, he married
Me
you
and Alicia. Yeah.
And we did that. Did we do your premarital as well?
Mike Kellett did.
Okay.
Mike and Susan Kellett. And I told Kellett, I said, "Hey, we made it 30 years, so you did a pretty good job."
That's right. So Phillip and Alicia were at my second wedding to do. The one before was about 3 months maybe before, was another one of their pals. It was Jase's first convert, Blake Gaston and Shannon. And it was interesting with Blake and Shannon's because her dad, they were young. I mean, she was 18, I think Blake was 19. And the dad, the old deal about ask for your hand in marriage, well, he said no. And so, which is, it happened in every one of our, by the way, all the Robertsons, me, Willie, Jase were all also told
Also no.
No.
But we still with it.
What about Stone?
No, I told Stone, but Stone asked me, and I was okay. I said, "No, we need to wait till she gets a little older, because she was young too." Yeah. But anyway, so at the rehearsal, Alicia is the wedding director. Well, she's about 18 or 19, so she hadn't had any experience but she was just trying to help kind of organize it. And so when we're standing there at the rehearsal, we're at WFR in our main sanctuary, and they're walking down. Everybody's come and got in place, but there's just tension because everybody knows that Dad is not happy. He doesn't want to be there. and he's angry, and then Blake's dad is ready to whip somebody's butt. I mean, I'm thinking, okay, my first wedding, we're supposed to have a good old redneck throwdown right here in the sanctuary.
In the sanctuary.
So when they're walking down the aisle toward me, and I'm green, this is my first one. I'm 23 years old or whatever, 25 years old. And they're walking down the aisle, and she's looking one way just sobbing, and he's looking the other way just with a mean scowl. And I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, oh, no.
This ain't good.
This ain't good. So when they get down there, I'm kind of waiting because I'm not sure. This is my first time, too. And Lisa says, I think you're supposed to say who gives this. I'm not answering that. I was like, oh. So we just went up another level of tension. And then, and then we got through it. Nobody fought. The next day, and I've noticed this now because I've done a lot of weddings and a lot of funerals, the most dangerous place to be is the night before a funeral when all the families get together and some have had a few adult beverages and we're all remembering, but then there's bad tension. I've seen fights there. And then wedding rehearsals. Because if there's any bad cracks, it's going to come out the night before. But when you get to the actual show, to the wedding or the funeral, everybody behaves because nobody wants to show out now.
Yeah, don't want to act
so
up.
I've learned that through the years. I learned that from my first one. But it's interesting because he wasn't happy, but he gave her away, and now they've been married 30 years, just like you got 30 years this next year. And they have a great relationship, and it took a little while for him to work it out. And so I learned a lot from that. Look, it may start out a little rocky, but give it time. It'll work out, and so that was my first two experiences and you were actually number two, Phillip.
That's wild. And that's the first time I ever saw Phil. I mean, the whole family was there, and they were there, of course, to see you, but it was kind of neat seeing Phil kind of dressed up, he showed up for it. All right, McMillan, let's get this thing going. I said, it's your son that's doing it. He's like, all right,
so
I
recall, y'all had an outside wedding at Caroli Park.
That's right.
And the whole time, a big wind blew up. And I'm like trying to hustle now because we're fixing to get wet.
Yeah,
I mean, it's one of them Louisiana
you
deals.
see it coming, boy.
And so I just got it done. We got inside, and the bottom fell out.
Perfect timing.
But it blew out all the candles, and stuff was blowing all over the place.
You think that
was
a
30
sign?
years ago.
Oh, 30 years ago.
Was that a sign?
That was a sign that said, hey, it's all going to be good, boys.
That's it.
And it has been.
You chose wisely.
He did. His wife, Alicia, is one of my favorite people, and she always has been. She's very smart, which is why Phillip's kids are also smart, I guess.
Yep.
There's no other explanation for it.
Yep. Hey, that was worth ringing the bell for.
But she's also just has the biggest heart you've ever seen. I mean, she's good with people, and she's a great person. One of my favorite people in the world.
And your kids are actually that way.
You did good.
Thank
They
you,
really
Si.
are.
Well, look, while we're talking, I do want to just say this before we move on because I haven't got to tell Jay, but Jay is one of my best friends, and I'm gonna tell you this: what he said a while ago is true. When things get bad, you know who your friends are. Si, when you were sick, if it wasn't for Jay, you wouldn't have made it through because I helped you, but it was because of Jay's strength.
Yep.
And Jay, I appreciate everything you did back then for helping Si out.
And while you're on that, I'm gonna give kudos to old Jase. Okay, when Jase was getting ready to graduate from high school, I think he may have already graduated. He said, "Okay, but hey, before we actually just scatter like quail and go our own ways, I'm gonna try to convert all my peers in school." So he went on just a gospel preaching.
Absolutely, we were there when we Al. We hit Al about 2:00 in the morning
crusade.
several times.
He went on a crusade, and look, a lot of them are still at the church.
Oh yeah,
Right.
Well, when we worked it as a team because we had this house. Lisa and I had moved to town. We left the river, moved to town, went to school, preaching school. Jace went with me, and Jace knew he wasn't ever going to be a preacher. Just that wasn't his calling. But he loved to share the gospel with people. So he has the heart of an evangelist. And so Jace would be there. People would come. Lisa was great at hospitality, even when we were young. So we just had this setting where Jace was leading them to Christ. Lisa and I were sort of kind of discipling. This, like you said, that's why you guys looked up to us. And then we'd bring in Dad every once in a while for just a good
bring in the big gun
for
boys.
a fireball.
Ball peen hammer.
The sledgehammer.
So I tell people, they ask why Unashamed is so successful. And I said, because the three of us have about 100 years of Bible study experience when you put our years together. About 40, 30, and 30. And we all look at things differently. I'm a pastor. There's no doubt. I have a pastoral approach to people. I get along with people. I'm diplomatic. Jase is an evangelist. I mean, he's thinking, get the gospel to you. And Dad is a prophet. In other words, he's never going to back off of truth. And so the reason it works so well is because those three views of studying the Bible and then just having a conversation about it is impacting people. So I think it's that teamwork approach. And the fact that Phillip and these guys have been around for 30 years shows you that it has legs. I mean, it works over the long period of time.
So, absolutely.
Which makes it good.
Well, let's get into...
All right, boys, open the mailbox up. Let's see what we got.
Mailbox. Well, this is a good one. You know, there's some good emails in here, but I'm going to go with this one. This is from Miss Cheryl in Boonville, Mississippi. Hello, Duck Call Room crew. I have a question for Uncle Si. Thank you for your service, first off, and Stone as well. You're
Appreciate
welcome. Our pleasure.
Yep.
My son just graduated Air Force basic training yesterday, July the 29th. The 7.5 weeks he was there was hard for this mama. And then having to tell him bye yesterday after only 6 hours together was even harder. So when you get out of basic training, you have a small window where they let you communicate with your parents and family. So that's pretty tough for her. And however, when I tapped him out after graduation, it was the best feeling. Such a proud mama moment. My question is, how did your mom feel when you left? Do you remember her telling you? This was hard, but our faith got us through for sure. Signing off with my airman's favorite Bible verse, and I think that's the Bible verse we're going to go out on today. But before we do, Si, do you remember?
Yep, I do. And me and Mama talked about it, and I said, well, it's your fault. And she said, what are you talking about? And I said, you named me Silas. And I said, yeah, that's Paul's traveling companion. And I said, ever since you put that name on me, I've been on the road. It's like Willie Nelson's song, On the Road Again. Yeah. But, and Mama, Mama had told me this throughout the years about, when you are at your lowest, okay, clear your mind, okay, and look around, okay. When you think you can't go any further, you've had it, and you'll always find there's someone else that you need to hit your knees and thank the Almighty. Oh, I'm sorry I even thought that. Okay,
that's right.
Because I'm so much better off than that person.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And and my mom, she was, of course, mamas they're all very similar when it comes to their babies moving on.
Yep.
And this is a special moment, but at the same time, it's tough on Mom. I remember my mom. When I was deployed, she got on her knees and she didn't tell me this. My dad told me this later. She got on her knees and prayed at least twice a day for her son to come back home safe.
Protection.
So if that's what I remember most about, my mom going through me being gone and everything. So take a page out of that. Cheryl, I know, that you do pray a lot, so just keep that going. Get on your knees and say a prayer not only for your son, but for every service member out there, because these are dangerous times we're living in.
Yep.
So her son's favorite Bible verse happens to be Isaiah 48, and that's what we'll go out on. The grass withereth, the flower fadeth, but the word of our God shall stand forever.
Amen. And let me tell you this, Jay, guess where I'll be Thursday? I'm going to see Bryson graduate from boot camp from the Air Force in San Antonio on Thursday. Me and Alicia are going to go through this same thing.
That's it.
Well, hey, here's
powerful.
the deal.
Thank you for reading that.
Tell both of you. Tell the lady, okay. Tell your son we appreciate him serving our nation. Also, Phillip, tell Bryce we appreciate him serving our nation.
We'll do it.
Okay.
All right, guys. We'll see y'all next time.
Next time.
That's it.
It's a wrap.